Well, as you know, the Kilcoyne Conversation loves great storylines, and Trevor Rosenthal certainly qualifies. Came onto the scene in 2012, pitching for the Cardinals in the postseason. The next year, a huge piece during their World Series run in 2013, didn't give up a single run. And then he ends up being the Cards closer, sets the franchise record for saves in a season. That was 48 during the 2015 season. He was also on the All-Star team. And then after Tommy John, you start to wonder, is the career over for Rosenthal? Went to the Nationals, didn't pitch well. Same with the Tigers, wound up pitching in Toledo. So he's in the minor leagues. Goes into 2020, gets a shot with the Royals. Lo and behold, it's Mike Matheny, his former manager, who brings him to Kansas City. And things start going well. Pitches great, ends up in San Diego, and ends up facing the Cardinals in the postseason. And had a great season. Now he's a free agent, going to sign on somewhere, of course, now that the career's back on track. So we love the storyline there. And good to catch up with a guy who's still living in St. Louis. And just a lot of perspective there on having, been out of the game for a second, really. 2018 didn't pitch at all because of the injury. And then now at the age of 30, we're ready to continue the career somewhere else. And a Kansas City kid who got to pitch for the Royals. Granted, there weren't any fans in the stands, but that's also a fun part of this story. A 21st round draft pick. It's a great story. It's been told before, but he was not a pitcher at the community college level. Then they decided, well, let's just throw him out there for a little bit. And had a handful of innings, and that's it. So the Cardinals drafted him in the 21st round because of that. So we love the storyline. Fun to catch up with Trevor Rosenthal. And as always, make sure you subscribe. iTunes, Google, Spotify. That way, every conversation we have, whether it's with a Cardinal player, a former Blues player like a Chris Pronger or a Keith Kachuk, or maybe the coach of the Blues, a Dick Vermeil, an Ozzie Smith, you never know. Make sure you subscribe. That way, it's delivered directly to you. And the Kilcoyne Conversation each week is brought to you by Triad Bank, the St. Louis-based bank. Find them in Frontenac, and you can find them on the web at triadbanking.com. Based in St. Louis, which means they can make those decisions right here. Also, Marie de Villa Senior Living. Get online, mariedevilla.com. Take a virtual tour. And also, don't forget, the Christmas tree is up. If you're driving down Clayton Road, you'll see it. Clayton and Wideman Road, that's been their home since 1960. And Appliance Discounters, 4 area locations. They're on the web at theappliancediscounters.com. Washer, dryer, fridge, stove, whatever you need, lowest prices, best merchandise. That's what they are all about at Appliance Discounters. Let's get to it, our conversation with Trevor Rosenthal. Just this past year, for you to be in the postseason, to be pitching at a high level, after the road you had to go through, how rewarding was last year for you?
It was a fun year, especially coming off of 2019, but then also just with COVID and the shortened season, to have things go well, especially, I was having a good spring training. Spring training was going really well, and to have it cut short was a bummer. I felt like I was on a pace to have a great season. And so I didn't want that to, all that hard work not to, me be able to put it to work. And so to have a good year and then ultimately, join a playoff team and a team that went to the playoffs and won a ton of games, it was a big reward for me and my family. And I really enjoyed, being back in that moment.
How big was it for you also reuniting with Mike Matheny? Because you're still trying to get the career back on track, and there's a guy who's seen you at your best. What did it mean not only for them to want you, but maybe even a little bit of ease, him knowing you as you try and, settle in?
Yeah. I mean, as I got into last offseason and trying to figure out, where I was going to be for the season and what the new opportunity was going to look like, he was probably the biggest part in, for one, getting me into Kansas City and helping me to have the opportunity that I had. And, that came from obviously from our relationship in the past, but, really showed the amount of confidence he had in my ability and, where I was at and how he thought there was a lot left in the tank. And so, I wanted to, just prove him right and, do what I could, obviously, to help the Kansas City Royals organization. And, as I got into the organization and, became a part of it and got through spring training, it was just, it just felt so good. They treated me so well. They had so much confidence in me and put me in positions, to help myself, but also help the team. And, I don't think it could have worked out, much better other than staying there and winning some games. But, great organization, great people. And, I'm very thankful that Matheny continued to have that faith in me and give me that, next opportunity.
And it didn't last long pitching for the Royals, but for a Kansas City kid to put on that uniform, I'm sure it'd have been nice to have fans in the stadium. But did you think as a kid, hey man, and you're too young to remember Dan Quisenberry, but as a kid, did you want to get out there and pitch for the Royals?
Yeah, it was just it was a surreal moment because, as I, going through high school and I was seeing my baseball career unfold and continuing to go to Kansas City Royal games and just being in that stadium as a fan and thinking, one day I might have an opportunity to play on this field and for things to come full circle and to be putting on the uniform is just, it's a crazy experience. And, being on that field, looking up into the stands, unfortunately with no fans this year, but just to be just that whole experience and to represent the organization and the city in that manner, you can't really put it into words. It's a dream come true. And I'm super thankful for that. And who knows, maybe, one day be back in that stadium and have that opportunity again. But it was a cool experience.
And you mentioned surreal. How about the fact Trevor Rosenthal is back on top of his game, hitting 100, back in a postseason appearance? Oh, and by the way, it's against the Cardinals. A lot of guys, how fun was that? I'm sure more fun because you guys won the series, but to see those guys and for them to see you again at the big league level.
Yeah, there's so many, good relationships over there, from top to bottom. I mean, guys I played with, Mike Schilt, who I played for at multiple levels in the minor leagues and really helped develop me into the type of player I am. And it was kind of crazy how it worked out. With the shortened season, things were kind of crazy with, figuring out who we were going to play and what the standings looked like right up until the last game. And, when we were sitting with a week plus to go in the season, it didn't really look like the Cardinals were going to be a team that we might play. And then as we closed in on it, it was, more of the guarantee. And it was kind of just one of those things where, crazy how it worked out to be in that position. And for me to have the opportunity to, come in, and I don't know if it's necessary. I don't really look at it as like a revenge or redemption story, but just a, cool opportunity for me to come in and, close out games and kind of show the team that I played for before, like, hey, I'm still the same guy, and here you go. But it was fun, obviously winning games and to be a part of that. I'm always thankful.
You seem to really enjoy San Diego, which how can you not? It's a great city. It's a great ballpark. But I feel like every Trevor Rosenthal tweet was about food, and people loved it, right? So were you getting you would talk about the carne asada and the fish tacos, and you're not a 400-pound guy, but you love the food in San Diego. Were people kind of feeding off of that too?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's for one, it was an exciting time for the San Diego Padre fan base. Having a winning team and getting into that postseason race was something that they hadn't seen necessarily in recent years. So they were excited, and then going back just to not having fans in the stands. Social media was a way for the players and for myself to really connect with the fan base, but also to kind of give back. When the fans are in the stands, it's easy on day games, a Sunday day game, to go out and sign some autographs for people that show up early and, meet the kids and, do some special things that, you do to show your appreciation. But we weren't able to do that this year. And so, with the fan base and how active they were on social media and really just being so welcoming to me, I wanted to, take that opportunity just to interact and do what I could to make them feel our appreciation for their continued support, even, through these tough times. But like you said, it's a great town. You can't, I don't think it's hard to, I don't think you can wake up and not be happy in a city like San Diego. The weather's great. Great Mexican food if you're into that, which I am. I enjoy the tacos and the burritos and, all those different things. And, more than anything else, I think it's just a different culture than what you get here in the Midwest. Just a different style of food and way of living. And, just try and, dive in and enjoy it. And like I said, going to the beach and getting in the ocean is never something that disappoints.
any point in 2019, whether it was the Nationals, the Tigers, even going to Toledo, back to the minors, where you wondered, man, is it going to happen again for me? And I don't know if there's doubt when you've been at your level before, but how difficult was that year just trying to get back?
Yeah, it was. I think it was. I don't think there was a ton of doubt, just because my stuff was still there. I still had my velocity. I was still throwing hard. My pitches were still above average, major league pitches. And I was healthy. I felt strong. I felt really good. There was just something that was just off. And I think it was, majority of it was mechanical. And then, as things snowball, you start to lose some confidence, which doesn't help at the highest level either. But it was just more of a frustration, because I knew, how much work I had put in coming back from the injury. I knew I was healthy. I knew I had taken care of myself, and for things not to necessarily work out as I had planned, because in my head I saw, just a bounce back year, going to be this great player and do great things. But it didn't really work out how I wanted it to. So I guess that part was probably the hardest part to cope with, is just the frustration of having these high aspirations and goals and just not being able to get the job done. But like I said, just how I felt, my health, I knew that I could go back into an off season. I knew I could work again and just, put in the repetitions to gain my confidence. And that's what happened. I came into spring training and things were firing on all cylinders. And I knew from a confidence standpoint, I just had to continue to build on that. And so, even through the shutdown, continued to throw up at Vianney High School with a local catcher, and just stayed ready. And when the season started back up, I just picked up from where I left off.
Our conversation continues with Trevor Rosenthal, and the Kilcoyne Conversation is presented by Marie de Villa Senior Living, Triad Bank, Appliance Discounters. Make sure you support the sponsors. Let them know you like to listen to the program here, and that you said to stop by and check them out. Triad Bank, located in Frontenac, Marie de Villa Senior Living, corner of Clayton and Wideman Road, and Appliance Discounters all around town. They're on the web, theappliancediscounters.com. So the question is, a guy that sets the Cardinals all-time saves record for a season, makes it to an all-star game. How did you last till the 21st round? I mean, there's got to be a lot of scouts wondering, how do we miss on this guy?
Yeah, I think that's, it's mainly the fact that when I was first getting scouted, I wasn't pitching a whole lot. I was a shortstop at a junior college in Kansas, and my pitching career was short-lived at that time. And so the Cardinal scout that, Aaron Looper, that saw me for the first time, only saw me pitch 2/3 of an inning and brought that into the draft room. And that's ultimately the amount of information they had to, even select me in the 21st round. So, it's a cool story now, going back and talking to GMs and baseball people on how they just kick the ground and scratch their heads like, how do we miss you? We had no idea that you're out there. But I couldn't be happier with how things have worked out, and having the opportunity to be, come up through the St. Louis Cardinals organization. Like I said, the people along the way helped really mold me into the type of person and type of player that I am today. And now, moving on to different organizations, hopefully be able to give that back and instill that into some younger players. You came along at a great time. I mean, you debut in 2012, then the team's in the middle of a run where they're not only going to the postseason, but winning games, going to the NLCS. You debut in 2012, and was it your first inning against the Nats? Didn't you? Was it LaRoche, Harper, Worth, or Worth, Harper, LaRoche, some combo of the above? You struck out the side in your playoff debut. Are you telling me there were no nerves at that point? At that time, it's only the best nerves because you're too young to really understand the importance of the situation, and you're more just excited about the opportunity to show what you've been working for, show off your talent. And like I said, I just couldn't have been put into a better situation to be on a team that's winning, to be at a good point where I can debut some of those talents that I had, and it all worked out really well. And you're shocked, I'm sure, that Yadi and Waino are still going, right? They're going to be pitching and catching somewhere next year. We're not sure where, but you marvel at how they can do it at their age. Oh yeah, I mean, it's no question. The guys, with how they work, with how they take care of themselves and how much they care about winning, it's no question that they're still, front runners for players in the league right now. And wherever they end up, I mean, I've talked to Yadi. I'm like, dude, wherever you go, let me know. Like I would love to have you back there, calling my pitches and helping me out as he did for the whole beginning of my career. So it's going to be interesting to see. And, like I've said, recently, it's a great time to be a part of the MLB. There's so much talent, so many exciting young players. It's just an exciting game right now. And, hopefully this upcoming year, we get a little bit more of a full schedule and continue to enjoy the game that we all love.
And just kind of a weird time to be out there, though, looking for a team. What are you hearing from your agent? Just saying, stay tight, it's going to move slow?
Yeah, I think it's still, it's unprecedented time. So we don't really know, what's going to happen, but we know there's going to be baseball, and with the way things are progressing, it's going to be, sooner than later. Things are, looking up, and, I think with this last season, it really showed that even if we are in the middle of the beginning of a pandemic, we're still able to get the games in. It just doesn't look the same. But I think we're going to, eventually throughout this season, whether it's the beginning, middle, or end, to get back to more of a normal season. And I think, if you look at some of the other leagues, you look at the NFL and the NBA, the NBA just had their draft and things in their free agent market are very active, and, players are signing and talking to teams. And that's what we're seeing with the MLB. We're just at the early stages. And I think if we do be patient and wait this thing out and get a little bit more certainty heading into the season, I think players and teams are going to be more confident in what to expect, and that's going to be a good thing. But there's been a ton of interest, I know, in players, and a lot of talk. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens, and with all the moving parts, maybe be able to reunite with guys like Yadi.
All right, final thought. As a Cardinal, favorite moment for you specifically, like on the mound, and then maybe a separate one when you're in the dugout and something happened, because as I mentioned, that run from 12 and 13, 14, winning the division at 15, there were a lot of fun, exciting moments. How can you nail it down to a couple for you, and then both pitching and in the dugout?
Yeah, every day is so fun, just getting to show up and put on a major league uniform, and then being at a stadium like Busch Stadium where we have the fan support that we had. Every day is awesome. I think back to some of the highlights of those playoff runs, especially the Dodgers series. We're facing some really good starting pitching, and to see be out in the bullpen and see us see our lineup come back from some deficits against some really good pitchers. I think we can all agree that those were some of the most exciting moments in the recent Cardinal history. And then, for me, making the All-Star team in 2015 was a special moment. Just, to be able to represent our team, our bullpen, and how good we had been. To be part of that was a special moment. And then getting to close out games for all those years, closing out World Series games and postseason clinching games, you name it, getting dogpiled on by your dugout is never a bad thing, and something that I'll never forget.
And best of luck, Trevor Rosenthal, this offseason free agency. Looking forward to seeing him closing out games again next year, wherever that will be. Fun story to share. Glad he's still living in St. Louis. And hopefully you enjoyed the conversation as well. Make sure you subscribe. Google, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify. It's all over the place. The Kilcoyne Conversation, brought to you by Appliance Discounters, Triad Bank, and Marie de Villa Senior Living. Have yourselves a great Thanksgiving. We'll talk a little Martin and Marlowe later this week.